We had a unique experience traveling in Japan due to my 1-year-old baby's emergency hospital stay for 5 days. So overnight, I found myself needing to crash course Japanese child-rearing 101 to know where everything is and what everything does in order to help her recover. So needless to say, I might have learned more than I expected to as an ordinary tourist mom in Japan, especially when it comes to baby essentials that are unique to the Japanese market. Whether you're traveling to Japan and wondering what you should bring back for your family, or if you're just looking for inspiration from a culture that really pursues excellence and craftsmanship in how they approach baby care, you are at the right place because we're going to cover a lot of grounds today. The first thing first we need to get out of the way is where you can find these baby products. Because if you're used to the US system where there is a general store like a Target that you can get a lot of things and baby things like clothes, formula, and bottles and diapers, that is not how it works in Japan. In Japan, if you need kids stuff, the drugstores might carry some common goods like diapers and wipes, but for any other things, you would have to go to a kids store. Here's a list of stores that you can find baby products in. Personally, my favorite one is Akachan Honpo because I love the Japanese aesthetic. Their design of clothes and the layout of their store is just so calming and soothing. I would highly recommend that you go to a kids store like Akachan Honpo for kids stuff. The first thing that caught me completely off guard is the fact that you can't really get diaper cream in Japan. It's not really a product category in and of itself. So zinc oxide based diaper cream would actually need to be prescribed by a doctor because they consider it medicated. Yes, you heard that right. And they prescribe it only at 10% for very severe diaper rash. What do we not know in the US that they know in Japan? Japanese diapers are a whole different level. They're so soft and so chemical free. I wish you can feel it across the screen. The quality is so good that the need for diaper cream is almost minimal. It doesn't mean it doesn't exist, but most of a rash can be easily taken care of by Vaseline-based product. Or I see every store carry some kind of baby powder. This is by Pigeon, which is a huge brand in Japan. So in the US, you pay a premium for elemental chlorine-free diapers. And in order to get completely chlorine-free diapers, you pay an extra premium. But in Japan, this is the baseline. It is so free of chemicals that it barely irritates the baby's skin. Oh, by the way, these are super affordable. For comparison, this is how much a coterie costs, and this is how much this one costs. When it comes to formula and baby food, Japan again takes it to a whole nother level. There's a lot of extra microbial safety testing, apart from just good manufacturing practice, which in the US is required by law for formula. Japan also has extra requirement on top of good manufacturing practice to make sure that the food offered to the most vulnerable of the population is of the highest standard. All of that is to say, it's actually very assuring for a mom of 2 littles to travel to Japan because I know that really high food standard is actually taken to a whole nother level when it comes to baby's food. There's a ton of snack options in Japan. I mean, an overwhelming amount. I've got a few things here that are left from the trip. Most of them are actually very simple rice or wheat-based crackers and little cereals, vegetable cereals like this. And they just sprinkle a lot of vegetable powder or fruit powders in it. And I also realized that most of the snacks offered to babies are supplemented with iron and DHA. It's actually really hard to find snacks that don't have those substances. So you can see up here, this is iron, DHA, iron and probiotics, iron, calcium, and fiber. Fiber. You guys, I realized that we have totally underestimated the importance of getting fibers in our little humans. But in Japan, they have really taken that very seriously. To give you an example, these are baby pouches in Japan, and these are the default ones given to babies. They're made of fruit juice and konjac jelly. Now, you might not be familiar with konjac jelly, but these are incredible source of insoluble fiber. They're incredibly good for your gut. They help grow really healthy gut microbiomes, and these are pretty much ingested by Japanese kids every single day. And mixing it up with fruit juice, it really helps with hydration in a country that is very hot and humid most of the year. And so yeah, these are actually incredibly tasty. I personally love it as well. I can see why even among the grown-up snack options, there's a lot of jelly in it as well. Continuing on the fiber train, these are snacks that I have for myself. My toddler also loves it. These are kelp, and they somehow make it I think it's some kind of marinade, but it's sweet and sour at the same time. And my toddler loves it. He would never eat kelp, but then somehow he would be able to eat these. And that gets a lot of good natural fibers in his gut as well. These are just some really small examples of how much fiber is packed into Japanese snack culture, starting from a young age. And by the way, if you are enjoying this video so far, please give it a thumbs up because that will help more people see this video. As we speak of gut health, I feel like it's very important to mention the fact that when I brought my daughter to the ER, I was very surprised that apart from just medications to help her with the symptoms of nausea and diarrhea, they actually prescribed her probiotics. Yes, probiotics that were ground into super fine powder that you can put into their bottles or their food. These are supposed to actually kill or help the gut fight the bad viruses. I thought it was fascinating that they prescribe probiotics as a way to help the kid's gut naturally fight against infection. Whereas in the US, at best, you will probably be sent home with some anti-nausea medication and perhaps some IV drips in order to help with dehydration. But the idea of like using probiotics at a really young age is actually not as prevalent. So I love this idea so much that I researched, where can I get more of these? I did not find any ways to get these without a doctor's prescription because they're supposed to be very potent and very active. But during my research, I have come across, hold on just a second, they're supposed to be very similar to the ones prescribed and they're sold over the counter. Among the ones that are over the counter, these are the most similar. And they make it into powder form so that it's very easy to put into a baby's food. So as we finish these last 2 doses, we're going to actually start her on these so that the microbiome has a chance to recover after viral infection, which is actually supposed to be a standard practice. My family doctor, who's absolutely exceptional, has told us that after every cold and flu, especially if it's stomach, gastrointestinal related, we need to give our kids probiotics to replenish what was lost. So if you go to Japan, get your hand on some of these. According to the labeling, it is safe to use for babies that are 3 months or older. And they have the same thing for adults too. In fact, these can be used by adults as well. So I got myself the same product but in pill form. While my baby was hospitalized due to dehydration from a stomach virus, the nurses gave me a huge tub of sterilizing liquid and had no idea what to do with it. Through Google Translate, I learned that I'm supposed to wash my bottles with soap as usual, and once I'm done, I'm supposed to put them immersed in this liquid. These are not the liquid itself, obviously, but these are tablets, individual tablets that you can put in water, and then they makes the water basically chlorinated to the concentration that can sterilize baby bottles. And I'm supposed to immerse the bottles under those water for at least an hour to achieve sterilizing effect. I mean, I would much rather use steam over something that's chemical, but I did wonder, could I use this at home? And the answer is yes, because if you have watched my video on exclusive pumping, you would know that I suffered from reoccurring yeast infection, so nipple thrush. During infection, I'm supposed to actually sterilize my pumping products every single time after use. And if you have pumped exclusively, you would know that that is already a lot of work, and we don't need more on top of that. Another issue is that a lot of my pump parts are not actually sterilizable by steam, so I have to boil it because some of the silicone parts would just warp and change shape or color and hardness if I put them through steam. So I thought, wow, if only I need this, that would be amazing because this requires no temperature and I can just immerse the specific pump parts that cannot be sterilized by steam into the liquid. That would have saved me so much time because what I was doing before was just boiling a huge pot of water every single time. I have to clean the pump parts and I have to pump, anywhere from 7 to 8 times a day. It was just too much on top of already too much. And this liquid, once you make them, they're good for 24 hours and you can reuse the same liquid over and over again. You immerse the pump parts or bottles and nipples in it and you can forget about it in an hour. You pick them out, shake them, and they're ready to go. You can use the same liquid for toys and things that are just a little bit hard to clean, with wipes and stuff. So these are amazing. I got a lot of these for future use. And of course in Japan, they would think to put a magnifying glass on top of a nail clipper for babies. So intuitive. I got these for a gift because I don't really need it right now. I've also seen across stores these tiny little scissors that they use. They're really, really good too because they somehow are sharp enough to cut baby's nails, but then they're not sharp enough to hurt them for some reasons. I don't know how they designed it, but it really, really worked for us. So I got some for myself too. If you and your kids are incompatible with mosquitoes, you would want to get these from Japan. These are just simple mosquito patches patches. They're made of natural essential oil and they place it on stickers. When you need to use them, it is, oh, I got 2 left on this particular sheet. So you just plug these stickers on your kids' clothes or your own clothes, and they smell strong enough that they will repel a lot of the bugs and mosquitoes, but they're not irritating smells. So I actually find them kind of pleasant. They're really, really affordable. I wish I had gotten more actually. I go through a lot of them these days because it's summertime and we want to be outside, but we don't want those bites. If for whatever reason you got bitten anyway, these are so good because they cool your inflammation down. They have a little bit of a cooling menthol effect as well, so you're less likely to scratch in the bites. So I am personally allergic to mosquito bites, so I get huge inflammation from it, and this has been godsend. They're super easy to use. They come with this spongy applicator at the top, so you can just dab it onto whatever skin surface you want to use it on. Super easy to put on, and it works instantly. Something really good for anything skin irritation is this, and it's this all-purpose medicated balm that all parents use for any skin issues, and it's safe for use for babies that are older than 1 month. Whether that's a rash or eczema or some mosquito bites, these are the defaults. And the fact that in a culture that has so many products to choose from, this is the one that every single parent has is convincing enough for me. These cooling patches for the forehead are amazing for your kids are suffering from fever because it physically cool them down without any chemicals or medications. So these are cool for I think up to 8 hours. I used these when I was a kid growing up in Asia, and I just don't see this a whole lot in the US. I think I've never seen it in a drugstore, but I could order it off of Amazon, but they don't really work too long. I think they are good for like 4 to 5 hours. So in order to help your kids manage fever and help them cool down physically, naturally, these are amazing. And Band-Aids, I have to talk about them because they're so stinking cute. So this is Anpanman, which literally means bread man. And this is like the most popular figure for little kids in Japan. For some reasons, my kids have never been exposed to Anpanman before. They never knew what they look like, and they have never watched a single episode of Anpanman, but somehow they fell in love with Anpanman as well. What I learned is that, interestingly, everything for kids start with circles. So look at this little man. This man is all circles. Everything about him was circle. So anyway, my kids love these, and I thought, you know, for boo-boos here and there, these will be amazing because it will be a special memory from Japan. And of course, Pikachu. Everybody loves Pikachu. This is different from country to country. In Japan, everyone wears masks, including little kids. And they make these so well. My toddler does not refuse to wear it, whereas usually he kind of is very funny with these things. He doesn't even like wearing hats. So I was surprised that he actually took this really, really well. He was required to wear a mask in order to visit his little sister in the ward while she was being hospitalized. And he took to this with no problem. I noticed on the streets of Japan, kids are getting picked up from the residential areas when they get into the school bus or the van. Speaking of the van, little kids as young as preschool age are getting picked up by their schools in a van, and so they will be given hand sanitizers and they will mask up before they go into the van, and everyone in the van is already masked up. And interestingly, from conversation with moms that have raised kids in Japan, they say that honestly at preschool age people get snotty here and there, but it's not as much as my experiences in the US, where some moms said that they literally paid for the kids to go to school to get sick. But in Japan, that is not often the case. People get sick, but it's not as much. As I was asking questions, what I learned is just that Japan really takes hygiene very seriously, starting from a young age. On the topic of masks, I just have to drop in an honorary mention of my favorite mask. These are for grown-ups. They also actually, I have seen them make kids version. I just didn't get it myself, but these are amazing. These are so soft, and they're antimicrobial themselves, and you can wash them and use them over and over again for up to 5 times, and they stay just as effective. If you have worn one of these, you would know what I'm talking about. It's like wearing cotton candy on your face. It's so breathable, but it's effective against pollens and viruses and bacteria. Moving on. When it comes to dental care for kids, Japan has outdone itself again. Apart from just really cute toothbrush that are for, you know, older kids, the ones for babies are so cute too. Look at this. And this one, you would never think it's a toothbrush, but it is. Look at these tiny little brush. gosh! The prints are so cute and they're made in a shape that is so easy for a baby's hands to hold. So my baby loves chewing on this, and before she knew it, she had already brushed her teeth with this. And there's like probably 6 other prints of the same thing. For older kids, they also have super cute tooth floss. These are infused with xylitol and they have different flavors, and this one comes with 60 of them. I think at the age of toddlerhood, you're not necessarily helping them clean their teeth so well, but it's more about building the habit of dental hygiene. And so these will be amazing for my toddler to start practicing using. It just makes so much sense. I don't have an example here, but there's a lot of toothpaste for babies or toddlers that are infused with probiotics. And I thought that, again, so smart, because for oral health, you need a good oral microbiome. So if you put probiotics in there, naturally it will promote a healthier oral microbiome. And while in Japan, of course, you need to get sunscreen because, again, they've outdone the entire rest of the world. This is the brand that I got for kids. These are 80% food ingredients. That's what they said here. And also this one, it says that it's non-chemical, which I love because I believe in physical sunscreen. Super safe for young babies as well as people with sensitive skin. And apart from just these baby sunscreens, you can totally get yourself some normal Japanese drugstore sunscreen as well, because for the same level of protection, you're going to be paying so much more for an American product. Bento box culture is so huge in Japan. Bento boxes are just so cute and utensils are so sweet. There's tons of accessories related to it. My oldest is going to school this fall. I got him some bento box stuff. I don't know, as an Asian mom, this is kind of the way that we send off our children into the world with food. He loves trains, and during this trip, we actually went to Thomas Land next to Fuji. He had a blast, and so I got him a Thomas lunchbox. And of course, some chopsticks, because training chopsticks are everywhere in Japan, not so much the rest of the world. And I also got a Pikachu one. I got a few gifts for others as well. Oh yeah. I just realized that this one is compatible for both left hand and right hand. And I also got one that's designed exclusively for left-handed people. I don't know of any kids who are left-handed, but I mean, how would I ever know? My kids could change any day, but also I could have a friend whose kid is left-handed, and it would be very hard for them to find a training chopstick. So I got one just in case. And in order to help kids eat vegetables and fruits and make that fun, they actually have these little skewers that the little kids can use to pick up fruits and veggies in their bento box. And I already know that my toddler is going to love these little vehicles, so I got some for him as well. And that's a wrap of this haul, and I am so grateful that you stayed until the end of this video. This video is really personal because this trip had been so hard, and everything I've learned during this trip when it comes to the stuff that I shared, I learned through a lot of difficulty. So I'm really glad that you stuck around. If you have ever been to Japan and there are stuff that you really thought were very interesting when it comes to child rearing and baby care, please let me know in the comments as well, because I would love to exchange ideas. And if you have not subscribed yet, please be sure to subscribe before you go. And I'll see you in the next video. Bye!